One of the biggest things that you guys can take care of on your horses is thrush. It, you look at the one solar shot of a horse's foot, the sketch drawing in your booklet. You'll see um, there's a center sulcus, and then there's the sulcuses along the side of the frog. I rarely have any problem with those. If they get a little bit nasty, clean them out. That's fine. But in the center sulcus, this is what starts to go from horse to cow. And when the foot splits, and you get some infection in there, and it starts to break down and get up inside, you get a fungus, and it abrades the tissue, and they get sensitive. Problem is, the vast majority of the time, I find it surprising, and this is we're gonna change the future here with you guys today, because there's no reason why horses should have this issue, and they don't. Some of them talk, I know, but not all of them talk, and they don't always tell you about the thrush in their feet, and they don't tell you that it hurts, and it gets, when you're riding around in these sand rings and it gets packed up with sand, every time their foot opens and closes, expands and contracts, and there's a constant moving of the frog that it's constantly irritating. And they might not show you that they're lame, but they might want to get off of it, and they might want to get off their heel, and might not want to land as evenly, and they might not want to load it there, and they might want to get up on their toe, and other things start to happen. So managing center sulcus thrush, not having it in your horses, is what you want. So let's identify what that is. So let's look at this other foot first. Is near 4. And let's look at the back of the foot here. And that's a nice frog. What's the problem with the foot? Doesn't have enough ground surface area in his shoe. He's grown a lot of toe. And what he's done in that period of time is he's drawn this shoe forward, right? You guys see that now. And when you hold this foot and you put your hands around, come around behind me, take the foot, okay? And just use your hands right there, and you can feel the coronary band. You feel the shape of it, close your eyes, and just let your hands kind of drift down the foot and feel the shape of the shoe. And there's kind of a mirror there, isn't there? Yep. Kind of similar shape. Now if we put a big square toe and set this way back, or we had something that didn't have an artistic reflection of the coronary band, you would feel that oddity, right? Yeah. And that's what you want to be able to do. Now you can see that the apex of his frog here, kind of center of weight bearing, you want to have from here about 1/3 of your overall distance. So if you look at this point here and you've got half the foot out in front, you know that everything's pulled out in front too much. So this is long, but he's still got expansion, he's still got shoe behind him, just not quite as much as you'd like to have. So he needs to be shod. But the next thing you notice, because you're a horseman and you're looking and you see this center sulcus is nice and clean. The frog's a nice V shape. It's not extruded, long, narrow. It's a good shape. This is nice and open and clean, and it's healthy, and it goes up, and it doesn't split at the hair. This is all solid. Okay? Let's look at the other foot. And you're doing this every day because you love this guy and you want to take care of him, so you're in the stall, and then you pick this one up and you go, ooh, this is kind of rough. It's split all the way up in the hair here. And if I get down in here and I stick my thumb down in here, oops, he's pulling his leg away. He doesn't like that. So it's split. Now, at first glance, if these things weren't on here, these tags, you'd look at it and you might not notice that, right? So it's really important. Pick up your horse's foot and check in here. And everything's solid, no sensitivity. I hate to think about how many issues come from this very simple one right here. And I get down in here. So now we're going to treat it. We've got to identify it first. And I've got a screwdriver here just to show you how deep this thing is, and it goes way down in there. So, and look at all the sand that gets in there. Can you believe I don't have a hoof pick on my truck? I'm using a screwdriver. So look how far down that is. Split. That's not normal. It shouldn't be like that. So we've got a little prescription in our thing there we've been doing for years, works really well. The key to treating this and the key to solving this, because the horse will heal, but the problem is you've got to heal it from the inside out. The frog grows his frog out the horse grows his frog out about once every 6 months or so, a couple times a year. This whole thing, and you can see where it's starting to shed right here. See this line? This is the old frog here, and it's getting ready, it'll come off or it'll get trimmed off, and the new one's coming. But this won't go away unless you take care of it. So every time he walks and shears, like he loads one side of his foot, the foot shears and moves, the sand and all that debris in there, and the fact that the tissue's so sensitive, yeah, come on over. It's constantly abrading the tissue and making it worse. So we got to get it clean, and we got to keep it clean. So what Maddie's done for you is, and we've got some of these for all of you, get yourself a syringe with a nice big tip on it, and flush it out. And you actually, sometimes, the problem is what most people do is they take some of that copper sulfate or thrush remedy medicines. They're very toxic, and fill it up again, okay? And they just burn the tissue. And so I put a little mix there in your book, peroxide, iodine, and saline solution. You mix the three of them together. It's real soothing. The peroxide breaks down. You mix up a bit of it at a time, equal parts. Got a little effervescence to it. It'll bubble and it'll kill a wide range of bacteria and fungus, and it's appealing to the tissue, and you just keep it clean. So when I have one like this, I'll flush them out 6 times a day, and always before I ride, always after I ride immediately, because you're going to pick stuff up in there. So you want to get that for me? So feel how far you have to go down in there. Go ahead and push it in there. There you go. Now you got now come all the way up here to where it's split. See how far up it's split up in there? And then and push all that stuff through there. We've had horses that, and I'm sure you have too, people that have had this. You come near them with a thrush buster or something like that. After a couple of times of burning them with it, you're like, you're not doing that anymore. I don't like it. This I'll love. And whether you come back and treat it with something that your veterinarian prescribes for you, with some Hedison K or some of the dry powder or whatever it is, that's fine. But getting it cleaned out with a good flush, getting the sand out, then the tissue will grow back together, it'll grow out, and you can heal it. If you look at that other foot, you can put that one down if you will, and you look at this, see this calcification right here? He was probably splitting this foot before, and it's healed up. So it can be done. I think that's probably one of the most important pieces for you as your job. You know, having a good working relationship with your farrier, you guys don't want to, I've spent my whole life trying to become proficient at my trade. You need to do that in yours. But this one's your responsibility.